Get it together. If you are willing to overlook Donald Trump thinking that your wife, your daughter, your sister, your mother are just pieces of meat and that he doesn't care about them, then I'm sorry. You're a coward. Now take your Monster Energy drinks, your lifted truck, and get the hell out.
When I was growing up, says a guy who looks like he's 12, and here we have the Democrats going back to the same well, a well that's completely dry because there was never any water in it to begin with. But this is all they have on the left. They don't know how to appeal to men, so after the gimmicks fail, the hats and all that stuff, they resort to insufferable, pretentious, irritating lectures delivered by the most annoying and inauthentic people on earth.
Matt Walsh has really been going hard on these idiot leftists lately. This one is one of my favorite ones that I have ever seen from Matt Walsh that he posted just a couple of days ago, where he absolutely demolishes Harry Sisson, the woke idiot leftist. Let's get into this clip here from Matt Walsh's podcast, where Matt Walsh absolutely demolishes that woke idiot Harry Sisson.
Now, the Harris-Walsh ticket can't match this authenticity because nothing about the candidates is genuine. If you put a Glock in Kamala's hands, as and she'll do exactly what Tim Walz did, probably. When candidates are this fake.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
And lame and desperate, their surrogates don't have much to go on. So they end up sounding inauthentic and desperate. Here, for example, are Jennifer Garner and Julia Roberts making what could be the single most inauthentic acting performance in their respective careers, which is saying something. Watch.
I just hope that all the women here tonight talk to all the men that aren't here tonight. And all you brave men that are here tonight. Talk to all the other men that aren't here tonight. And let's just get it going. Enough with the fighting. Let's get to the uniting. Let's get to the joy. Let's get to the repair. Let's get to prices dropping, rents dropping.
Listen, I know you've knocked and knocked, and I know you've called and called. I know you've given and given, and you're worn out. But the truth is, you are the front lines. This is it. I mean, I'm looking at these beautiful faces, these women, and at these strong men. God, is there anything sexier than a man who is like men for Kamala? You are the front line of this battle, for lack of a better word. It really is. There are two ways forward, and you guys are going to have a huge voice in how that way is chosen.
So Julia Roberts wants women to go home and nag their husbands and boyfriends into supporting Kamala Harris. And if they do that, then prices will come down and we'll have joy again in the country or something. Never mind the fact that Kamala Harris is the sitting vice president and that by Kamala Harris's own admission, she bears responsibility for the Biden administration's policies. But don't think about that. Just berate as many men as you can find until they relent and do what you want. And then there's Jennifer Garner saying that men who support Kamala are sexy. Perhaps that will convince men to rush out to the polls. If they aren't convinced by the camo hat or by a lecture from Barack Obama, maybe they'll do it to impress Jennifer Garner. But, I highly doubt it. And if you're a left-wing male and you're passionate about Kamala Harris, at this point, you need to be somebody like Harry Sisson, the DNC shill who posts a lot on TikTok. Like him, you can't have any shame or self-respect whatsoever. So here was his pitch to men that he just posted a couple of days ago. And let's see if he does any better. Watch.
There are a lot of cowardly men out there who are supporting Donald Trump and think it's manly to do so. I don't know about you folks, but when I was growing up, all of the men around me told me to respect women, treat them with the dignity that they deserve. Don't bully women, don't insult women. Donald Trump has done every single one of those things. He's bullied women, insulted them for their age, weight, appearance, things of that nature. He was found liable in court by a jury of his peers for assaulting a woman. And of course, to this day, he brags about taking reproductive rights away from women. So if you're a man and you're supporting this guy, what's wrong with you? Get it together. If you are willing to overlook Donald Trump thinking that your wife, your daughter, your sister, your mother are just pieces of meat and that he doesn't care about them, then I'm sorry. You're a coward. Now take your Monster Energy drinks, your lifted truck, and get the hell out.
When I was growing up, says a guy who looks like he's 12, and here we have the Democrats going back to the same well, a well that's completely dry because there was never any water in it to begin with. But this is all they have on the left. They don't know how to appeal to men, so after the gimmicks fail, the hats and all that stuff, they resort to insufferable, pretentious, irritating lectures delivered by the most annoying and inauthentic people on earth. Now, it's true that men will sometimes respond to a little bit of harshness, a little bit of tough talk, you know, the old coach's speech in the locker room at halftime type of thing, but only when that tough talk is delivered by somebody who is serious and strong and credible, a leader of men, not a mousy little dork who would cry and call his mom if he got a flat tire. But this is the strategy the Kamala Harris campaign is now using in order to win over male voters. It's a mixture of insults and condescension.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, if I was running Kamala Harris's campaign, which, pray to God that I never am in that position, but if I was doing it and I wanted Kamala Harris to win, Kamala Harris is one of the most unlikable, most obnoxious people that has ever been a politician. You know, it's honestly like, I can't even imagine having to watch her give presidential speeches all the time. That would be such a nightmare, but also content at the same time. But I would probably go try and find some people, you know, if I'm going to pay, because Harry Sisson is very obviously paid off by the DNC, you know, very obviously. I'm going to go pay some people who are exactly who Matt Walsh is talking about, you know, leaders of men, people who are actually likable, not some mousy little dork, like he said. Why would you go pay Harry Sisson to say this stuff instead of just going, like, Harry Sisson is just like Kamala Harris, just a little bit less obnoxious. That just shows you how obnoxious and annoying Kamala Harris is, because Harry Sisson is one of the most obnoxious and annoying people on the earth, but yet Kamala Harris is still worse. But I would go find someone who can actually relate to the people who they're trying to relate to, rather than just having more obnoxious women and more obnoxious men like Harry Sisson try and convince people like Matt Walsh that they should vote for Kamala Harris. It's not going to work. You should probably, if you're going to try and convince someone like Matt Walsh, which is never going to happen, but if you're going to try and attempt to get people who are similar to Matt Walsh followers to go and vote for Kamala Harris, you should pay someone who is similar to Matt Walsh, not similar to Kamala Harris and similar to the voters that you already have. All Harry Sisson does is he panders to the women out there who are already voting for Kamala Harris and the soy boys out there who are already voting for Kamala Harris, because that's who he is. He is a borderline woman, and if he's not a woman, he's a soy boy. So that's who you're going to appeal to. If you're trying to get new voters, you should probably just not hire and pay off social media influencers who are soy boys and already annoying and obnoxious to people like Matt Walsh and like myself and like everybody watching this video most likely. Go hire some people who are similar to us, who aren't annoying and obnoxious. It just makes no sense. I don't even understand, like, a lot of these politicians' strategies. It makes no sense to me.
But all this stuff fails because the Democrats' message to men is fundamentally emasculating and debasing. They can't even pretend to respect the voters they're trying ostensibly to appeal to here. They can't even pretend to respect men, even as they're trying to berate men into voting for them. But that's the point of it. It's why they're promoting Doug Emhoff as a prototypical male, even after he had an affair with his nanny, even after he was accused of hitting his ex-girlfriend. The position of the Harris-Walsh campaign is that none of that matters. In their eyes, you're masculine as long as you do one thing and one thing only, which is to submit to whatever liberal women want you to do. Just do whatever they tell you. Now, the problem for the Kamala Harris campaign, the reason they're flailing so publicly, is that despite Democrats' efforts to destroy it, actual masculinity still exists in this country. Men still exist. And in just a couple of weeks, to the great horror of Julia Roberts and Barack Obama, those men will vote. And they very well may be the ones who decide this election.
Let me know what you guys think, though, about what Matt Walsh had to say about Harry Sisson and the Kamala Harris campaign. Like I said, it doesn't make any sense to me how they're trying to berate men into voting for Kamala Harris now, because I guess all the other tactics didn't work. So now they have people going on Piers Morgan's show, like we did the video on yesterday, of that woman like going after Tim Pool and going after Vinny from the PBD podcast and just calling them misogynist. And how are you going to explain misogyny to a woman? Like, men are incapable of understanding a basic concept like that. Those are the kind of people who are supposed to make us want to vote for Kamala Harris. In reality, it makes you want to punch a hole in a wall, let's just say, even though it's actually in something else. It just pisses me off so much, like, whenever people act like that. Like, oh, how are you going to explain misogyny to a woman? It's like, a monkey can understand that. It's a basic concept. You don't have to be a woman to understand something that is about women. It just doesn't make any sense. And then they also use the, what law out there stops a man from doing what he wants with his body, or you know, controls what a man can do with his body. It's like, number one, every law out there that applies to women, except for abortion, also applies to men. Like, you know, men can't steal, men can't murder, men can't do any of those things. So that's number one. But also, if you want to go like just specific to men, the draft is one of them. So they're out there for sure, but nobody complains about it because men are just like, yeah, it is what it is. Society has to function. Killing babies, probably not a great thing. If I had to, if I had to make a decision there, probably not the best for society. Anyway, let me know in the comments though, what do you think about what Matt Walsh had to say there about Harry Sisson and about the Kamala Harris campaign? Let me know in the comments if you agree with Matt Walsh or do you agree more with people like Harry Sisson.